The rich used to pay peasants to entertain them, and now the peasants pay the rich to entertain them. Being a pet owner is like being a sugar daddy. You waste all of your money on keeping them happy, and the only thing they do is look cute and give you attention sometimes. If we do colonize Mars, the reduced gravity will cause humans to be physically weaker, so we will probably use Martian as an insult synonymous with weakling. In video games, the fatter the enemy, the more HP they have. In real life it's the opposite. You have the same amount of gold medals as almost everyone who's been in the Olympics. If penis size was as obvious as breast size, the world would be a very different place. 8 hours of drinking is binge drinking, 8 hours of TV is binge watching, 8 hours of sleep is barely enough. If Apple manufactured clothing, they'd probably have all the belt loops on their jeans a different size than normal, so you'd also have to buy an Apple belt. If we colonize Mars and bring chicken with us, then they would have the ability to actually fly, since Mars' gravity is about 38% Earth's gravity. If reincarnation is real, then maybe flies and other bugs are purposely annoying because they want to get killed and get reincarnated as something better. The job of future historians will be the exact opposite of what it is now. From too little information to too much information. Filtering out what was real and what fake. Eating lunch alone as a kid is like torture. Getting to eat lunch alone as an adult is a nice treat. Girls are so used to compliments that insults stick out to them. Guys are so used to insults that compliments stick out to him. Given how often your character dies in video games, in most timelines, the bad guys win. A goldfish's job is to introduce kids to dying. A child eating a cake in the middle of the night is having a great time. An adult eating a cake in the middle of the night is having a terrible time. If I see Google in a show/movie, I think nothing of it, but if I see Bing, I know it's product placement. Lazy Town was a show in which the protagonists promoted health and criticized unhealthy behavior, such as being on the internet all the time. Now the antagonist of the show is an icon to those who browse the internet all day. Having one bar of Wi-Fi is worse than having no Wi-Fi at all. When you choke on water, you failed at breathing and drinking, the two most important activities in your life. If a company celebrates 365 days accident-free, then they're celebrating the anniversary of the accident. If you run at 11 p.m. you are a night person. If you run at 5 a.m. you are a morning person. If you run at 3 a.m. you are a suspicious person. The only part of your reflection you can lick is your tongue. People who say not to talk to them before their morning coffee are basically saying that they're unpleasant to be around when they're not under the influence of drugs. If aliens are monitoring our media and 98% of the internet is porn, they're not giving us anal probes, they're just trying to speak the language. In Never Gonna Give You Up, he never says he loves her or that he'll treat her well, only that he will be committed to her and not cheat on her. He even goes so far as to say, "You wouldn't get this from any other guy." That song isn't a love song, it's the nice guy anthem. The reason why shows like Friends and The Office are so beloved is because they show us what we truly want in life, a tight-knit social group that we're always a part of, no matter how bad we screw up. For every girl who wonders if a guy is staring at her, there is a guy who accidentally makes eye contact and is now afraid that she thinks he was staring at her. Airports should have small movie theaters for layovers. They would make a killing. The internet has gotten dumber over time because it took stupid people longer to figure out how to use it. Smelling your own fart puts that fart back inside of you. When a starving predator is chasing prey, they are both running for their lives. When you introduce two different groups of friends to each other, it's like your own life's crossover episode. Having kids is like having little broke best friends that think you're rich. The only people forced to see anti-piracy warnings are the people who don't pirate movies. It's weird to think that nighttime is the natural state of the universe, and that daytime is only caused by a nearby, radiating ball of flame. Few things are sadder than leaving the vets with an empty pet carrier. As a kid, a friend living 15 minutes was really far away. As an adult, a friend living 15 minutes away is really close. I'm lucky to be broke at a time when minimalism and sustainability are in style. A guy can decline an invitation by saying his girlfriend won't let him go and everyone will likely understand. But if a girl declines an invitation by saying her boyfriend won't let her go, people will likely get concerned. Teenage girls probably dress and try to look older because they want to look like teenage girls in movies who are probably mid-20s actresses. Shrek says hold the phone even though telecommunication does not seem apparent within the Shrek universe. Based on a true story, movies are all part of the same series. Parents who say, if you're feeling well enough to play video games, you're feeling well enough to go to school, don't seem to realize they are equating an extremely low-impact leisure activity with a high-stress and difficult involuntary obligation. With how many streaming services there are, it won't be long before someone bundles them all together and we end up with cable TV again. Witch hunting wouldn't have been so popular in medieval times if any of the victims were actual witches and had decided to fight back. Rockstar has really proven with their popular games GTA V and Red Dead Redemption 2 that we have never really outgrown playing cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians. Honestly, the least realistic part about the Magic School Bus is that a public school has a class size of 8. A clear toothpaste tube would make so much sense. Middle of the night water tastes so much better than normal water. The main child actors in Harry Potter were tutored on set, so they theoretically went to school at Hogwarts. All that time they spent teaching us cursive, they could have spent teaching sign language instead. Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies probably still thinks Santa is real. He was taken from Earth as a kid and then raised in space around aliens and crazy creatures the rest of his life. He probably assumes Santa is an alien. We really take for granted that both our legs grow at the same time and at the same rate. The Onion might go bankrupt because they can't compete against the reality now. People often forget that there was a time before glasses, which explains many historical myths and legends. Water is a beverage whose flavor is its temperature. Your face is a combination of thousands of years' worth of other people's faces. Making a typo in an online argument is the equivalent of voice cracking in a verbal argument. With Jeff Bezos having $116.8 billion and the average person having 100 billion brain cells, Jeff Bezos literally has more money than sense. An underrated perk of being an adult is you no longer outgrow your clothes. A lap is a non-existent body part that imaginably exists only when you are sitting. Kids today will never know that unique smell of Blockbuster, which was kinda like a mixture of candy and carpet. Harry Potter is way too emotionally stable for a kid raised by a family who hates him. Labeling something military grade makes it seem so high quality, unless it is food. A wireless charger restricts your phone much more than a wired one does. There is probably a high volume and variety of drugs in trash cans near airport check-in from people who chicken out at the last minute. Send nudes, not nukes is the make love, not war of this century. Some parking spaces make more money in an hour than a worker on a minimum wage. Everyone claims to have OCD until it's time to put the shopping cart in the cart corral. There could be a miracle drug that cures every disease to man, that we'll never know about because it doesn't work on rats. The more bad guys that a hero is facing in a movie, the better their chance of survival. 1v5 is no problem, but 1v1 will see the hero messed up pretty bad. It's kinda weird how we basically have an endless mental conversation with ourselves. Kanye West probably thinks he is a genius because he spends most his time with the Kardashians. The voice in your head has grown up with you and at one point was a child. Jack Black is everything a kid wants to be between a movie star, rock star, and famous YouTuber. After our ancestors discovered smoking something gets you high, they must have smoked a lot of weird stuff to see what other highs they could get. The CEO of Starbucks technically runs one of the world's largest drug empires. Ironically, a blind person has less chance of walking into a glass door. Our brain constantly calculates possible futures and forgets about them immediately. Maybe déjà vu is just our brain remembering the calculation and is surprised about actually having predicted the future. When we sleep, our brains have enough power to generate its own reality in dreams. When we're awake, it doesn't have enough power to remember why we walked into a room.